Welcome to the next video in the Patterns in Nature series. This video is going to be looking at the following dot point. Identify some examples that demonstrate the structural and functional relationships between cells, tissues, organs, and organ systems in multicellular organisms. So when we're talking about structural, obviously that's the way that an organism is put together based on the type of cells, tissues, organs, and systems that it has. And functional therefore relates to the different jobs that each of those particular parts do. So we're looking at the relationship between structure and function and how we lead from the basic unit being cells through to the more complex organ systems, which then come together in order to put together the whole multicellular organism. So just remember a reminder that multicellular organisms are those that are made up of obviously more than one cell, which are our unicellular organisms. So we can summarize this in what we refer to as the levels of organization. And in order to visualize this, we can draw it as a triangle and then fill in each of the parts as we expand and get larger. So we start off with our cells. So as we know from the cell theory, the cells are the smallest unit of life. And as we've been looking at throughout this topic already, they are made up of smaller parts known as organelles. So the nucleus, mitochondria, in plant cells, the chloroplast. So then when we have a group of cells coming together that have a similar job, or they are the same kinds of cells, we have what we call tissues. So here we would have a selection of a muscle cell, and then a group of those cells coming together forms muscle tissue. Then we have a group of similar tissues coming together with a particular function. So they have to be able to carry out an actual job. And these are referred to as our organs. So in this case, biceps, triceps, our pectoral muscles, gluteus maximus, any of those are made up of the same types of cells. And then when we have a group of organs that work together to carry out a particular function, we have what we refer to as an organ system. So obviously all of our muscles come together in order to help us move by attaching to our skeletal system, which is made up of bones, which is made up of bone tissue, which is made up of bone cells. So exactly the same kind of process. And then all those systems work together in order to keep our multicellular organism functioning. So as we move from top to bottom, we can see that up the top we have our cells, which are the smallest, and then we move all the way through to our organ systems, which are the biggest. And that's why we use that triangle shape in order to show the relationship in particular of structure. So size, cells are microscopic, we can't see them. When we put a group of cells together, we form tissue, which can be seen with the naked eye. Obviously then organs, depending on the type of organ, can be seen, and organ systems are all those different organs put together with a particular job. So if we have a look at this in two other examples, we've got our zebra across the top where we start with a cell. That cell becomes muscle tissue. That muscle tissue has a specific job of being the heart. That heart is part of the circulatory system, so it works with other particular organs that have the same kind of job. And therefore, with the skeletal system, nervous system, muscular system, they all come together and form our zebra. Then along the bottom, we have a plant example where our plant cells, again, have specific jobs depending on where in the cell they're found. Those different cells come together to form tissues, in particular leaves, which we'll be having a look at a little bit later in this topic. So then the tissues form the leaf. So the leaf is actually the organ. The organ system would be referred to as the vascular system, where substances can move up and down the plant, and then the whole overall organism would obviously then be our plant. And we'll be having a look at a few more of these examples in class and having a look at how the structure and their function relate to each other. And that's all for this video. Thank you.